Chapter 39. Teeth in the Night. John Hamman, 31. Cretaceous. Jenny wasn't sure what woke her. Some instinct that death was near. Perhaps it breathed on her. Jenny opened her eyes, but only saw darkness. The smell made her freeze. It was a fetid smell of rotten meat, the smell of a lion or hyena that fed on carrion. She had covered herself with cut ferns, but she could turn her head slightly and look up where she saw patches of the stars through the trees on this moonless night. Then a shape moved above her and blotted out the stars. She heard a huffing sound, and that fetid breath blew down on her like a wind. She drew her gun and fired up into the shadow looming above her. The flash from the muzzle of the high power lit up the inside of its mouth like a flashbulb as she fired the gun down its throat. All she saw was teeth. Jenny screamed, the sound lost as she pulled the trigger over and over, emptying the magazine of the gun as fast as she could. She pulled her arm back as the jaws snapped shut. In the flashes, she saw a great head pull back. She kept firing, and then the slide locked back on the empty magazine. She was engulfed in a darkness, more complete than she had ever known, her night vision ruined. That void was filled with a roar. It was more than a sound. It surrounded her and shook her very core. Blindly, she grabbed for the spear that lay beside her as she slept and crawled away through the ferns that covered the ground. Through the ringing in her ears, she heard a crashing behind her as the great head smashed through the brush where she had been, its jaws closing on her resting place. Jenny made it to her feet and took off, running. She might have been safe if it hadn't been for the tree. She hit it straight on at full speed, and all she remembered was pain. Laying on her back, she had her spear, and the empty gun was still in her hand. She felt it in the ground. It shook beneath her. The dinosaur was coming. Jenny rolled over, trying to get to her feet and leaning on the spear. All she could see were blotches before her eyes from where the muzzle flash had blinded her. She angled the spear blindly toward the monster, no time to do anything else. The spear's butt end braced into the ground as the dinosaur struck it like a semi-truck. She could not see what happened, but she felt the shaft bow as the spear buried itself deep somewhere in the beast's chest. The spear did not stop it, but the tree above her did. A crash sounded above her, and broken limbs rained down. She heard the trunk crack as it repeated her misfortune. Jenny clung blindly to her spear, and she was lifted into the air as the dinosaur reared back from the impact. She was thrown from side to side as it turned, trying to free itself from the tree and this thing clinging to its chest. All she could do was hold on for dear life. Her only safety lay in staying out of the reach of its jaws. She felt its head come down on top of her, the scaly hide of its jowls crushing her against its own chest. It roared again in pain as the spear ground inside it. The beast swung around again, and there was nothing she could do. Jenny was thrown, landing hard on the ground on her side. She saw a silhouette rise above her against the stars, and then it began to fall. She dived blindly to the side as it threw itself to the ground, trying to crush whatever was hurting its chest. The dinosaur rolled over like a horse, trying to crush its attacker with its own weight. She heard the spear snap and a roar of pain. Jenny pushed the button of the mag release with her thumb and got her last magazine into the gun. She heard it roll to its feet and blindly pointed the gun toward it, not caring if she even hit anything. Turning her head away and burying her face in her arm, she pulled the trigger 3 times, lighting the scene with the flashes. She ran into the trees, barely able to see and crashing through the underbrush. She hoped that her pursuer would be blinded by the muzzle flash as she fled deeper into the woods where she hoped it could not follow.